Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, I have a couple of alien stories to tell you all about today, folks. One, where this guy says he photographed an insect alien just outside of his window, and the next one, where this medical doctor refuses to remove a possible alien implant. Either way, let's start off with the article, Possible Insectoid Entity Photographed by Jacksonville, Florida Experiencer. There are photos that accompany this article. So let's read this guy's account now. Early this morning, May 12th, 2025, at approximately 12:20 a.m., I was contacted by an experiencer in Jacksonville, Florida, who wanted to send me a photograph of an entity that he had just captured on his cell phone. They stated, "This is weird. I woke up to a very loud humming sound. Then I felt a strong vibration in my chest and belly. As I gained my composure, I noticed a tall, upright, bug-like being standing in my bedroom doorway. I grabbed my phone and quickly took a photo. This is what I got below. From what I gathered from the experiencer, the entity stood in the doorway for several seconds and continued to watch them. It then slowly vanished, leaving no visible trace. So the thing almost seems like a ghost, or it just literally teleported away like you'd see in some sci-fi movie, like, well, Star Trek, the motion picture, perhaps. Or any other Star Trek property where the cast literally beam up on their transporters. Either way, here are the photos, folks, and as you can see, there's something there. It's rather blurry and smoky looking, but you do sort of see a insect-like outline, I suppose. It's kind of, well, creepy when you look at it, folks. Do you think that this actually is some sort of alien entity? Perhaps, and there are several photos we'll be looking at, folks, and some of them have been manipulated so that they're easy to see. One of them is in black and white. They bring out the smoky, or rather weird insect-like shape in it out a little more. Either way, this particular photo is bizarre. Here's the next one, folks. As you can see, the entity doesn't appear to have moved too much, but maybe have moved off to the side just a little bit, because the guy was quickly taking photos one after the other as he was observing this being. Here's the next one. So it's a little less, detailed, but there's still something with that insect-like head in the, off to the center side of it on the left. So is it actually an insectoid that this guy took a photo of? Here's another photo, folks, and it's a little better. The smoky, almost insect-like appearance is a little more clearer. The next photo we'll be looking at, folks, is the black and white photo manipulated one, folks. But either way, is this indeed an insectoid being? Here's the black and white photo. Now, in my opinion, folks, the heart-shaped looking head here really gives me the impression that I'm looking at a praying mantis. And the fact that this is not just a photo of an ordinary insect, that is what's truly mind-blowing, folks. This entity was in this guy's house. It was maybe it had abducted him. He woke up and he saw it. I have a few ideas about this article and the story behind it, folks, and the ramifications of what this guy saw, and how they relate to the UFO phenomena in general. But now, folks, let's finish off this guy's story, and then we'll take another look at least two of those photos before I move on to the next article. They then stated, "I'm still shaking and terrified. My ears are popping like crazy. I'm in a panic. I had listened to you a while back. I searched for your contact number and decided to give you a call." The witness proceeded to explain that he had never before experienced anything like this. "At this point, I'm not releasing any further information until I talk to the experiencer again. I want to find out if they remember more activity and or had any physical reactions. Note, I will update this post as other information becomes available on." So indeed, folks, this story is still developing, and there might be other details and other bits of it that we have not basically surmised and basically learned about yet. Either way, where do you think it will go, folks? Maybe we'll find out that the witness was actually a lifelong abductee, and only till now did he actually ever see any actual phenomena. Either way, here's one last look at that photo, folks. And as you can see, as I said, it really does give you an insect-like feeling to it when you see this figure. It's like a big giant bug, like a praying mantis, or maybe like a cockroach. And in the black and white again, you still get that feeling that this was a real physical being that was photographed, even if the photo is rather smoky looking, Either way, once again, folks, what did this being want? In all honesty, folks, this was probably maybe either after an abduction or it was going to basically abduct him in the future. Either way, let's read the next article. VA and Medicare refuse to approve removal of a possible alien implant. So, folks, this might be a first, where basically Medicare refuses to remove this implant, and we have to ask folks why. Probably because either they didn't know exactly what it was, or thought maybe the operation was basically too dangerous to remove this implant if we basically want to believe, that this argument had any real merit to it, folks. I mean, maybe they're arguing that, yeah, this thing looks too dangerous, so we won't remove it. We don't know what it was or is, but we ain't going to touch it. Maybe that's what the doctors told the patient here, folks. Either way, let's read the full account now. Hello, Lon. I recently watched your interview with Daryl Sims from a few years ago. I am 68 years old and retired, living in Rolette, Texas. I am retired from the state of Vermont government. I've been married for 50 years with no substance abuse or mental health issues. On October 22nd, 2013, I sought treatment at the VA hospital in North Dallas for excruciating pain in my right knee. They x-rayed my right knee and repeated the exam twice. They x-rayed my left knee for comparison and also did a sonogram. I overheard the radiologist saying, "What are those?" when he and a tech were reviewing my films. I was asked about shrapnel wounds or other injuries to my right knee. There have been none. My right knee has never suffered a significant injury. The doctor was candid and showed the objects on the x-ray film to my wife and me. There is no scar corresponding to the location. The radiologist's report characterized the x-ray as abnormal. The ER doctor said she had never seen anything like it on film. I was supposed to have an appointment with the VA to follow up with an orthopedic specialist. That never happened. The VA did recall me to the hospital on November 7th and took several films of my knee from a standing position. Using my search engine, I found a guy in Houston who claimed to be an expert in such matters. I saw him. His doctor reviewed my films and said they were very rare and consistent with the legitimate alien implants discovered by the late Dr. Lear. I have had several UFO experiences, nightmares, flashbacks, and incidents of blood on my pillowcase in the morning without a corresponding injury. It has been 10 plus years and I have never been able to get a straight answer as to what this object is. I tried to have it removed through the VA, but they continue to state that it is unnecessary surgery and refuse to schedule a procedure. Medicare states the same. The object still causes occasional pain. I can't afford to have private surgery conducted. I shudder to think that I may have been abducted at some point in my life, but the evidence is there that this may have occurred. What do you suggest, Jay? There's also a note, folks. Let's read that as well now. I contacted the experiencer and discussed with him a few options that he may want to explore. Interesting idea, folks. So, do you think it's possible that this man was indeed abducted by aliens? Like in the last case, folks, I kind of get that feeling that maybe that insect alien was squaring up the witness to be abducted either in the future or maybe he had already been abducted already and just they completely erased his mind of it. As I said, folks, I want further details into that story that maybe this guy had been abducted. But this case with the alien implant, most definitely this guy has been abducted, folks. But that's just my belief here. Now, the doctors don't really give any real answers to how this guy got these injuries and the fact that he doesn't have any real scars on his body where these objects are. So, I don't know how that can be. How can basically a doctor look at this and not say it's truly bizarre or how injuries could basically just be there? Now, in a few cases, folks, people have been, gotten objects in them and basically there was no scar corresponding to this, folks. So, maybe this might make sense if we think about it like that it could be possible. But usually, if you get something like a big object in you, there's usually a, corresponding scar that shows where it was, folks. So, I don't know about that. Now, everyone, if you think I'm contradicting myself by saying at least some objects can leave no corresponding scars, well, remember this. Usually in those types of stories, they remember some sort of injury or accident that the person had would explain where this object came from. In this case, folks, this man has no idea how this thing got into his knee. So, why? And remember, folks, this guy can move around normally, if Albert in some pain. So it makes me think that this object was purposely placed there and basically surgically implanted in such a way so it would allow him to move around, maybe only causing only minor pain, or basically, as he says in his case, severe pain, severe enough to basically go to the doctor and find that he had this object in him that he didn't know about before. So at least in this case, folks, if this was some sort of alien implant, they must have screwed up somewhere, causing basically this pain in his body, when in reality, he should never have known it was there to begin with. Either way, a truly entertaining and intriguing stories we've read today, folks. But we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics That Are Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe to me. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me today, folks. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video. So make sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.